Raven's not scared of my ship.
We're
No,
here.
he's probably scared of what I'm doing.
Probably. Are we live, Cotlon? Oh, we are live. We are live. We are live. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Perception Check. You must have rolled pretty high to find our quiet little stream. Now coming to you live, it's the Brady Bunch. How long before everyone starts looking at everyone's cameras like this? Well, the problem is it only works in one direction. Yeah, you're right. There's no one up. People might be down. Anyway, I am Brownie, your dungeon master for tonight. And joining us tonight is the Ragtag crew. I'd like to point out that's what I've done every time when I've said that. As you, hopefully, know and love them. We're joined by Cutlol.
Hi.
And...
Sorry,
Aeon?
the Lord of Darkness is not there. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, Lord of Darkness is not there, apparently. Get him out the way, Raven.
Hi.
Oh, Raven, have an inspiration die. That'll cheer you up.
Okay.
No,
Inspiration.
no, get that off. We're joined by... Fine, have it. Go ahead, I don't care. We're joined by Lena.
Hey, peoples.
And we're joined by... Wait, is that somebody back on camera after all this time? Heidi!
Hello.
Heidi.
Yeah. Yes.
What?
No, I think he went, hi, D.
You know, I've expected that pun for a long time, but I just never knew when it was going to happen.
Oh, I did that many times before.
Now, before we get started, just some quick notes to mention. Chopper will be joining us
Heidi.
momentarily.
Him speak.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, Chopper will be joining us momentarily. He's just coming back from a job interview, and Dell is going to be at a lecture. So she probably will join us as the very, very late end of it for like a few minutes if we're still going. But other than that, just know that we are back and we are here on camera footage because now we have that lovable pleasure for all. So whether you guys like our looks, whether you guys are scared of our looks, or whether you guys don't give a fuck, at the end of the day, this is our stream, and we're allowed to do this our way, right?
Amen. That.
Okay.
Oh, no!
Knuckles, get out of here! Oh no. Can we agree for one moment that that was the derpiest thing out of Sonic Adventure? Give me your bear! Oh no!
It was so derpy, in fact, that they made a meme out of it.
Oh no.
Anyways, let's continue.
Yes. So, I believe we should probably get on with this because last time we had a bit of a tearful moment before one big surprise out of another. So let's get that creepy music playing.
Yes,
the lovely
let's,
music.
because we can't get enough of that.
What? You don't like my solemn vow?
That. I
That's
love
the
your
na-
solemn vow.
Yeah, that's the name of the track. Fun fact: Solemn Vow is actually this track is actually on the Roll20 site.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just look it up if you ever get the chance if you're doing your own stuff. So there's a heads up for you. Yeah, I had nothing to do with the song, but anyway, last time on Perception Check, the Hope Finders had made their way to the Temple of the Claw to try and recover not only Trilly's parents, but try to sort out the incident as to why Diction, a member of the Black Pen, was involved in the Temple of the Claw, which was the former religious homes, or religious sanctum, of one Topaz Lightning and her former tribe. You made your way up there dealing with the harsh mountain circumstances. You dealt with the house mimics, and you dealt with the inner sanctum hooligans who were involved with it, with one quick swift splat of a vorpal blade. I'm so glad he's not here, so I'm gonna tell the honest truth. Fuck! Yeah, I'm still bitter about that.
Fair enough.
Be as honest as you want to be.
Yeah, I'm DM.
Adjustment free zone.
Yeah, he's not here. Then when he is here, this is now when he joins it and he goes, "I've listened in." If he does, oh dear. Anyway, you dealt with the situation. I love Kotlow's gas space. You dealt with them. You managed to get out Archgem after a little bit of arcane mystical luck. And after a bit of time had gone by, Ursula uncovered her father and Diction. With a little bit of persuasion by her side, managed to convince her father to join them to take down Diction, who turned out to be a doppelganger. But after dealing with him, the time came for Trilly to head back home. With a little luck of meeting with Titania, the former queen of Naturia, and gathering the rest of Trilly's family, both the parents and Trilly's brother back at Creo, they all said their goodbyes with the promise that one day she will return when she has sorted out the resurrection purpose of reviving Leo Drake. As you guys were all collecting your thoughts, whether because of tears, promises, frustrations, whatever emotion was going through your mind, you then had a strange encounter with a creature that none of you had really ever seen before. A lion-like creature. And as he made his way into the room, that was where we ended our session. So, Hope Finders, are we ready to roll?
Got my dice handy. Let's do this.
All right, let's get on with this. So, Trip, Ursula, and Liam. The three of you are the first to see this lion-like figure make their way into the room. Oh, Chopper just arrived, just in time.
Yeah, sorry about that. Traffic going from Arvada to Lakewood was insane.
No worries, dude. You're just in time. We just got past the recap.
Nice.
Yep,
No, that was good.
quick timing.
Yes, you're just in time. All right, so, Trip, Ursula, and Liam, you see this lion-like creature come into the room. Liam decided to take a pot shot at it because he got startled a little bit.
Did I?
Yes, you did. You did say, I'm attacking.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's what you did.
He just wants to kill. That's so
Yeah,
hard.
he does. All right, but you now see this lion-like figure, as stated before. Aeon, could you remind everybody what they exactly see?
Yeah, so essentially the figure before you looks humanoid. Essentially it has rather bestial looking features to it. Where you'd expect to see fingernails, you can see almost like claws. You can see fangs just protruding from its between its lips. Its eye is slitted, sort of shaggy mess of hair around its face, and it doesn't look too pleased to have been shot at.
Free
Way
kill.
to make a first impression, Liam.
It's he's wearing almost sort of like some sort of like military style studded leather armor, just extremely simple clothes, boots. Yeah.
So at this point, if any of you three, Trip, Ursula, and Liam, if any of you three would like to, you can make a nature check if you want to discern what race or creature that this thing is.
Nature check, so I'm going to pee.
Make a P check.
No, we're not
Oh,
there yet.
wow.
Oh, nat 20!
That's a good start.
Okay.
Nice.
Roll
we
of
get-
the night.
10% defense. Doesn't matter.
Fair enough. All right. Are we just leaving it to Raven, or do any of you two want to roll as well? It's up to you.
Ah, feck it. I'll do a nature check as well.
No.
1. Oh.
That's an 8.
Well, I know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna tilt my head to one side.
Okay.
Eight?
Ursula, you just look and you just go. Is that a male form of a tabaxi? It's almost cat-like. You're not sure what to depict of this. Liam, with that nat 20, you do discern that the creature before you is a Leonin.
Lionel?
And... Shut up.
Messy?
Oh dear. But because of the nat 20, I can give you a bit more. I can give you a bit more details about the Leonin. Let's see. Let me get my info of this exactly correct. I didn't. I'll be honest. I
We'll
did
see
not
that.
expect it. Thank you. For sake.
No. Yeah, Nakatla has his kitty with him. Speaking of lions.
Oh, he does. Cat butt.
Oh.
Goody.
Let me show you how an obedient cat behaves.
All right. Sorry, you have to get my information. Here you go. Okay, so, because of the nat 20, you're able to know about these facts about the Leonin. The Leonin are mostly said to guard the shining lands of the Oreskos, which is a golden plain where gods rarely trespass. Most of these prides are nomadic, lion-like humanoids which rarely interact with other people, having all they need in their homeland and knowing the treachery of strangers and villains alike. Some Leonin do wonder about what lies outside the mountain regions, and they seek to test themselves in either their skills, their wits, or even their survivability in the outside world. You also know, because of that, and I'll say with the nat 20 to give you the extra part, you also know that Leonins have not existed in the land of Monu for years. That's what you get for the nat 20. So yeah, you see a Leonin creature basically standing before you, and you also see him dripping with this slight sort of green liquid just dripping off him as well.
Okay, that just sounds gross.
So yeah, that's what you three see. So Liam, it's up to you if you want to pass any info. Otherwise, we'll leave the rest there.
No.
No, not gonna pass any on. Fair enough.
Guess Trip will just be staring.
Yep, that's fair enough. So at this point, it's up to you what you wish to do.
I think Ursula is going to make just a cautious approach up to where Trip is, and she's gonna look at the cat-like figure and just go, excuse us, who are you and what are you?
This is Aeon now deciding a voice. He's smirking.
I can see this. I can. He has a very devious look on his face.
Go ahead, Aeon. Give us your Leonin.
So as you start to approach, the first thing you're gonna hear is it sort of look at you, go, and almost snarling at you.
And as he snarls, you can see this sort of mixture of pure white teeth, but also a bit of sort of yellowed out mixtures of bad teeth and such. It's like his teeth is a weird mixture.
All right, I'm just going to hold out my hand and just kind of back away slightly, but just like enough to know that I'm not a threat to him. Just like kind of, and yeah, just leave it at that. I'm also going to slowly put my dagger on the floor just so that he knows I'm not going to attack him.
Liam's just going to keep his heavy crossbow aimed at him.
Fair enough.
You're pretty far from your homeland there.
Liam, you know what this thing is?
Yeah, it's a big cat.
Yes, I gathered that, Liam, but what kind of cat is he? I guess he's a
Leonin?
lion-like thing, but
Uh-huh.
a Leonin?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I look back at the creature. You're a Leonin.
Yeah, they haven't been here for years. Why?
Tripper's just like, huh?
Yeah, Trip is just like, huh? Meanwhile, everyone else in the other room is just hearing the mini conversation from outside. So it's up to Magnus and Topaz if they want, or if they want to join in, or if they just want to. Oh, well, actually, what are you two doing at this point? What's Topaz doing at this point, Lena?
Well, let me see something here. Let me check something. Okay, give me a second.
Okay, so at this point, Archgem is actually now going to look over a bit, and she's going to fly just a little bit further to get the distance and look, and goes, interesting. Though my eyes are still clouded, I sense a presence. Being. You are indeed not from our realm. Tell us, who are you? You need not need to fear.
Eyeing the large dragon a little bit more warily. He is going to respond with two words in sort of almost altering common. Where? Diction.
Diction?
Jeff picks up.
Will.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Cot.
Trip speaks up. Diction? I think he just died in the back room.
Or at least a doppelganger of him was dead. We don't know where the real one is.
Brb. With a BRB.
It might all be the real one, but just a different variant of it. I don't know. What is real?
Liam going
Don't get
philosophical.
philosophical on
Don't
us
you go
right now.
Matrix trailer on us.
What?
Everybody's clap Liam.
I almost was expecting him to go, "What is love? Maybe don't hurt me."
I just half expect his dog now to start playing blooming Matrix quotes when he smacks it. Liam, no! If you do, I will deduct the hit points from your dog every time you do it.
That's okay. I can respawn it every long rest.
All right. Anyway, yeah. So at this point, Archgem does look down at you, Aeon, and goes, "The one you call Diction. His presence is not here. Why does that name ring a feeling within you?" Aeon's struggling. Yeah, as this conversation's going on, you're just looking at this Leonin, and he looks very confused, almost like he's not accepting, but also not sure what to make of this conversation. He just seems lost, is a word to describe it.
Cue crickets.
Can I make an investigation check to see if he's a threat to us? Or is that a perception?
Perception if you want to just look, insight if you want to understand his behavior.
Insight
So,
then.
make an insight check then. Pussycat!
That's where she is. Just in case anyone wondered.
9. Okay, he's a little hard to read, but he definitely looks like he's Skull Bunny.
Yeah, Kitty likes plushies.
Fair enough. You can see the look of kind of like he's definitely lost, but it's a little hard to tell whether he's scared tense or whether he's scared of the environment and such. He's just not sure what to make about it, concerning that the words diction isn't here anymore has completely thrown him off. But that's all you're able to read from him with that roll.
Then Trip will ask a question. Do you think diction is kind of a... She's 4.
No.
I just had to use the beep once.
Not fair enough.
So, yeah, she pretty much said, do you think diction is kind of a dick?
Liam is just putting away his crossbow and he's just going to approach.
Well, that goes without saying.
Fair enough. All right. By the way, Topaz, you do see the sight of... By the way, at this point, you do see the sight of Liam and Trip just basically having something. So you can't see the something, but you at least see them two making contact.
Okay.
I'm going to do something.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to cast heroism on our big friend.
Oh, okay. Heroism. Let's have a double check of this. Give him 4 temporary hit points in heroism. Just remind what that does.
Display. Here we go.
There we go.
So as long as you're willing.
You are imbued with bravery. Oh, wow. Brave lion. Uh-oh.
You're immune to being frightened and gain, 4 temporary hit points.
So the question is Aeon, is he willing?
Shucks, folks, I'm speechless.
He does fall back into a defensive stance as you approach, but doesn't attack. Yeah, does let you cast it.
Oh. Okay. All right. So, Aeon, as you watch as this human creature comes up to you, you see him coming up with sort of like this weird, warm smile to his face in some regard. Yes, yes, Raven.
He's going to boop the snoot.
Oh, no.
You're gonna cast heroism by booping the snoot?
Yes.
And now dead.
Revive. Okay. Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah. So So Aeon, as you just watch his hand and just go, "It's all right." Boop. And you suddenly get this sense of, like, this sort of type of feeling, like you feel energized in some way, and seeing this group before you, they don't seem as threatening, at least to you now at this point. Oh, Heidi dropped.
Mm-hmm. Have to readjust the cams.
Oh, no man, she's back. All right. Yep.
So
I think you
what did I
figured out
miss?
why she dropped.
What?
You're a robot and like crazy for a second.
Yeah. It was just
It's okay. It's all good now.
Yeah.
Yeah, freaking internet here is kind of sucks. But anyways,
No, it's do the best you can. So yeah, so Aeon, your character now basically feels a bit on the brave end, and Archgem at this point looking at this, well, as you know, based on Archgem's predicament, it looks at you again, and she goes, "Young one, what is your name?"
He responds to that.
Kittyfoot.
There's a pause at the question of the name.
You just see a shrug.
You don't know your name? Or you were never given one?
Yes.
How do I respond to that?
A man of few words.
I know what I know what I'm gonna say.
And heck you.
Yes, Scott.
Well, if it doesn't have a name, I guess people call it Petrin. That's like a nice name
Or
for
Leo.
it. Petrin. No, Petrin.
no.
Could I just confirm something? Because I don't think I ever asked you this, Aeon. Have you actually given a name for your character yet?
Given its origins, no, actually.
Oh no!
Oh, crap situation now, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice.
No.
Oh no! I realize this now.
Ladies,
All right.
ladies and gentlemen, this is what you call no crap moment.
In some way. All right. So
No, this is what you. This is a moment of brilliance because the party gets to decide the name now.
By the way, at this point, Zelion is hearing some of this and just goes, "What's going on over there?"
I turn to look at Zelion and I just shrug. I don't know, per se. It's kind of hard to explain.
We found a new friend.
What?
A friend?
Yep, I'm calling him Leo.
And I'm calling him Petrin.
Yeah, no, we need to agree on a name. And it has to run by the big fella.
And at that point, as Ursula and Trip back up as she's saying this, the three of Zelion, Magnus, and Topaz, you now see before you the lion-like creature.
Why is there a lion standing on its hind legs in here?
Yes.
He's a big one.
Trip shrugs.
Alright then.
Wait,
Zelion?
Topaz, you don't recognize it? I thought you two. I look back and forth between the Leonin and the Tabaxi. I'm like, but you're cousins, technically in species, aren't you? Just guessing here, but
I then walk over to Ursula so I can get a better look at the creature.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So do you go right by Ursula's side, or do you go a bit closer?
Let's see. Let me check something here.
No worries. Zelion's gonna walk up to you, Ursula, by the way, in the process to get a better look. Magnus, what are you doing in the process?
Staying back for a little bit.
No worries.
30 feet. Okay.
Yeah, by the way, when you're out of combat, you can move as far as you want, just so you know that.
Well,
Okay, well,
unless your
thank you.
DM says like you can't go there yet.
Yeah, that's fair.
They're as much cousins as you and Magnus are cousins.
Okay, well, I'm gonna move a
I
little
sweat
bit.
drop. Bow. Good point.
Does that make me a cousin too?
Yes.
Actually, I'm gonna move right there.
Okay, so yeah, Topaz, you do get a look of the lion-like creature. In fact, Lena,
Yes.
make a nature or make a nature or religion check of your choice.
Nature or religion? We're both 0.
What's
Don't
better
you
than
just love-
minus?
Yeah, ain't that right? Yeah, it'd be funny, but yeah, that's a lot better than asking Trip to make a dexterity check right now.
Oh no!
Here's
That
what
note?
we do. Trip makes a dex check, falls down her face. Let's see, nature or religion?
Just depends where you want to go with this.
Let's go with nature just for crabs and laughs.
Okay, make a nature check for me, please. 12. Okay.
I was expecting. You know what's funny? I was expecting lower than a 10.
Concerning how these work normally. Based on what you know, this is your first encounter, but you at least remember something from your days of growing up a little bit. You are familiar with the spirits of the Leonin, at least. You do know that before your tribe existed on the mountains, there was rumor that the first being who set this up, even way beforehand, was a Leonin of some kind. But you don't know much else besides that. So, involving what they looked like, this is your first encounter with them. But that's what you get. So at this point, Zelion looks over and just goes, so what exactly was the idea with 2 different names? What's going on exactly?
Leo doesn't know his name.
He doesn't know his name?
Nope.
Yeah.
Does he know why he's here though?
Nope.
No, he was looking for Diction, remember?
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Just Sweat Drops and thinks his family didn't think to give the poor guy a name.
I could see Topaz actually doing that. A bit of a really.
Yeah.
Could be amnesia.
It could be. What do we really call him at this? Mr. Lion person. Zelion sort of looks a bit in your direction, Aeon. What was the last thing you remember? Maybe that can give us a hint and help you out?
Actually, can I ask 2 questions to Aeon? This regarding the character.
Go ahead, Aeon.
Well, the
Feel
first.
free to listen.
So the first one is, does it understand common good enough?
Yeah.
Okay, because it seemed to have trouble talking, so I'm like, does it understand common? And second of, and this is also a DM question. Does his species technically count as animal?
That's actually a
Oh,
really
I know
good...
what he's doing.
Oh,
I
he's
know
doing
what you're
his...
planning.
I think I know what he's going for too. Let me verify this for you.
Well,
If I can make
Even though it's a
Actually,
humanoid,
doesn't
it's a beast humanoid. So does it have beast or animal properties?
that's like asking, is Tabaxi a beast?
I
That's-
believe
I'd
that
be humanoid.
Tabaxi. Well, since Tabaxi are cat people, I believe they could be counted as a beast.
Let me have a little book look.
Oh.
Tabaxi. Okay. Okay. Tabaxi by traits. Tabaxi's wow. Strangely enough, Tabaxi's are classed as humanoid.
Okay, that's a. I figured that much, but
As for Leonin,
are they full humanoid?
Leonin,
Huh?
I think Leonin are classed as beasts. Does it say anything on your sheet, by the way, Aeon? Sorry, we didn't look this up. I'm so sorry.
Tabasco, I knew I was there were humanoids. They don't have beasts, but this race I don't have any knowledge of, so we figured. Huh.
Let me have a little look.
Oh,
Oh,
I can.
oh, thank you, Raven. Prides of these nomadic lion-like humanoids. So they're humanoids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Full on humanoids. Got it. Thank you.
No worries. While this is going, give me 1 minute while I double check this. Yeah. Tabaxis are classed as humanoid as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. There you go.
Thank you. Moving on.
No worries. Okay, so Zelion asked you a question, by the way, Aeon. Like, what's the last thing you remember? Is there anything you can respond with that?
Old. Wet. Waking up. Nothing before.
Seems to me like this dude's speaking broken English.
A broken common. But yeah, technically, yeah. So Zelion does look a bit, goes, so the last thing he remembers is wet and waking up. Tell me, where did you come from?
He's just gonna turn and point back the way he came.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. So Liam, from where you're standing, you see that he is actually pointing towards in the direction of the other room on the other side of the large room where Archgem was.
Ah, fine. The other room.
Yeah,
We haven't been there yet.
Yeah, I was about to say that's the only room that you guys haven't checked yet.
I was going to check it because 100% completion is the bonus.
You're not getting it.
What were you expecting? What are you expecting? Bravely default status? What are you expecting? A potion?
Yes.
Achievement! You searched the whole temple.
You get a clap. Well done. Anyway, yeah. So yes, Liam, you do.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So Liam, you do see that the lion creature is pointing towards the other room on the other side.
Come on,
I'm gonna look at Archgem and I'm gonna just Archgem, what's on the other side of the temple?
You mean in the other over there?
Yeah.
Normally, that would be the room of the burials of the previous leaders of the Tabaxi tribe.
Previous leaders.
Yes.
Burials of previous leaders. Then that could be a hint as to where this guy, like who this guy is. So I say we go check out and see what we can see.
Oh,
You think he came back from the dead?
what does that make him
I
undead?
mean, with Diction being able to raise people from the dead, and he says he's coming after Diction, I wouldn't put it past him.
Fair enough.
So what do you think?
I think we should be on our guard, is what I think we should be. That's what I think.
Right. I'm going to pick up my dagger, and I'm going to actually take the lead and start walking around Archgem and everybody so that I can get to the entrance.
Yep, I'm going to follow.
Okay. Anyone else following at this point as well?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay. Zelion is just gonna stay with Archgem for a moment.
All right.
All right. So you guys are there. Aeon, what is our little lion friend doing? Is he staying there or following?
Seeing everybody start moving to the other room. Turns him forward.
So he's gonna go over there as well. All right, Aeon, can you move the lion character?
No.
Okay, let me fix that.
Ricky, pizza.
Pizza,
More
pizza.
technical difficulties.
Not really a technical difficulty, but good enough. Okay,
There we
can you
go.
move him now, Aeon?
Yep.
There we go. All right, so you're making your way to the other room, and inside you see two large sort of caskets. But this isn't done on the map, and I apologize, but you actually do see that both caskets are open.
Oh.
Oh boy.
I'll look inside this one.
As will I. I will look in the other one.
Okay, I want you both to make perception checks for me, please.
Hey.
Hey, hey, Liam. Hey.
Damn it!
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
Dark in here.
As you both peer inside, all of a sudden, you just basically see nothing at a glance. It just, to you, it looks like the lid is just partially open and just like, it's dark in here. Can't see.
Then a body pops out.
Well, if you want.
No! Lena, do
roll-
not give him any ideas.
Oh,
Have a
no.
roll perception check on the one I'm at.
You know what? Sure. You know what? I would say if Magnus, you want to help that, you can help the one there and do one. If anyone wants to help Ursula, I will allow one more to do
I'll
it as well.
take it.
Natural 20.
Oh, nice.
Why
Yeah,
are everybody
right?
getting so much better rolls?
That's fair. Does anyone want to help the one Ursula is, or is anyone gonna, or is just
fine.
stay
I'll,
back?
I'll help Ursula.
Oh.
Give me a moment.
All right. Roll, Butterball. Roll, Butterball.
I have
Roll.
to double check. Perception. Yep.
I don't remember copying a turkey.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. I'll take two
Oh
nat
my-
20s.
Why?
I'm like, wait, what? Oh, I can take it.
Well, looks like I go full detail here. Good to know.
Well, he's like, hey, I'll take this.
Fair enough. All right. So, you know what? Who would like to go first? Who would like to know their info first?
Magnus was first. He goes first.
Okay, Magnus. So, Magnus, just remind me, which one are you searching? Is it the bottom one?
Yeah, bottom of Liam.
The bottom one with Liam. Okay, so, Liam, as you basically look through the small hole and you think, oh, it's dark, Magnus just comes up and goes, try moving the lid. And now you get a clear look inside. You're like, oh.
Ah.
So, Magnus and Liam, inside the one that you have there, you see, well, from the area that was open, you see a couple of blood marks, and you see some ropes that have been cut. But with the nat 20 and pulling the lid back completely knocking it off, you see at the far end of it, you see two more wrapped bodies, wrapped up in cotton garments of silk. And around each of them is a flag. And they both have the same flag dotted around them. And with the natural 20, you do also see something else. Gently edged in between the two bodies is a severed head.
No!
Hey, cool. We can use the head as a football.
I swear to God, I'll smack you.
When people said in football you need to get a header, that's not what it meant.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
How much funny,
That's
people?
it. Bye.
Get back here!
He's too headstrong.
Shut up. It's all fun and games. Remember, Lena started this and that was good though. Anyway, yes, so you find a severed head. In the other one, might as well get both infos out the way. Ursula, same thing with you. You think you look through and go, I don't really want to look in this. It's a tomb after all. And Trip's just like, come on, this is important information. Whoosh!
I thought you would trip it over, like, hey, I'm going over now. Whoop.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. You bang into it, and instead of falling like that way, which is what Magnus did, it goes sideways. And in your one, you see another 2 wrapped bodies. One of them larger than the other one, with the same flag. Unbeknownst to you, is the same flag as the one wrapping the other 2. But in this one, there's a mixture of chalices and special-looking robes and garments. And on the top of one of the bodies, gently nestled, like right on its stomach area, you see a scroll wrapped with a beautiful golden ribbon dotted around it.
Huh.
But with the nat 20...
I'm going to check for traps.
That might have been something you might have done before you did that, by the way. Just a heads up. But go ahead. Make an investigation check with your proficiency bonus.
Rustig.
What's that? What's that?
Rustig.
Nat 1!
Woohoo!
Rustig.
Oh, what a
There's
shame.
no Trilly around. God
Yeah,
damn it.
no halfling around anymore. Oh, goody!
Oh, shit.
Those nat 1s look so much more fun now, don't they,
Oh
everybody?
yeah, they do.
Oh, rustig.
Actions
this is
really
gonna
have
be
consequences
fun.
again.
It looks perfectly safe to you because you checked the traps after Trip moved the lid. You know what? Because of the nat 1, let's add a trap. Because of the nat 1. All right, so as you move the 1, spraying out from a small hole towards both Trip and Ursula, I would like you both to make dexterity saving throws for me, please.
Why do you hate me?
Trip might have even noticed it with the nat 20.
Well, maybe, but she was just checking the sarcophagus for what's in there. She didn't say what. She didn't look for the traps in there.
Apparently I rolled higher than Ursula somehow.
Yeah. Okay. I'll say because of the nat 20 that you were able to see it a bit more. You see, there's a hole there.
That's
You
a
both
hole.
moved
I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but there's a hole.
Ooh, let's
And-
investigate it.
And as that happens, a spray of green acid flies up from the hole. You dodge out of the way just in time, avoiding the damage. I literally just came up with that, so I thought let's have some fun. But Aeon, when you see the acid fly out of the tomb, you suddenly begin to tense up. So yeah, that's what you guys see.
What's up, kitty?
Make with that what you will.
I'm gonna growl.
Ursula, as she's watching the acid fly by and as she sees the Leonin tense up, she's gonna back away from the sarcophagus just slightly.
Okay.
And yeah, you were also describing something with my natural 20, so I was waiting for that to continue.
Yes. My apologies. Yes. So with the nat 20, I will actually do say that besides that hole with the dripping acid, you do see underneath it a bit of the bottom of the sarcophagus is pushed into the hole, into the ground a bit more, and there seems to be another layer to it.
Okay.
So in a way, you have found essentially a secret compartment.
Hey, there's something under here. How do I get there? What is in there? I don't really want to disturb a
Under the-
grave, but still, I'm curious. What?
I don't think that's a good idea, Trip. We don't want. As much as I like being grave robber, I don't want to disturb the dead. Like, that's kind of disrespectful.
It's meant to be illegal.
I know. But clearly Diction messed with this, so.
Yeah, but we're not Diction, therefore we're not gonna follow in his footsteps. Well, let me see that secret compartment.
Okay, you're gonna try and go to the compartment.
I just gonna look at it real quick to see if there's a way to open it per se, but I'm not going to touch it.
Okay, make an investigation check. 13. Okay. Though a little hard to find a bit there, I'll say because of the nat 20 that Cock got, I will say you're able to determine that the compartment is partially broken, but you gathered based on what you look around a little bit that you can tell that it's activated by some kind of a switch.
Huh. Now, if only we could find this switch. It's probably somewhere inside the coffin to begin with. I turn around and I look at the other two. Oi! You might want to check for, like, any kind of button or anything. There's more to these coffins than meets the eye.
Yeah, I'm not grave robbing, so.
I'm not either. I'm just saying. There's something in ours that's looks like it could be triggered by like a switch or a button or something. So just as a heads up.
And
Fine, I'll look for it.
and Trip mentions this. Maybe Archgem knows. I mean, they lived here for long.
Fair point.
All right. Okay, Liam. Make an investigation check for me, please. Can I just verify? Are you looking for the compartment, or are you looking for something else?
Oh, they mentioned the switch, so
You're gonna look for a switch.
or anything that opens something.
Okay, make an investigation check for me.
18.
18. Okay.
I rolled so
Uh,
low. Damn.
Oh, I know. With a
It was
wait,
only
with a
a 10.
+8.
Yeah.
Liam smart.
Yeah, he is.
I've got the
Unfortunately,
same on history and arcana checks.
must have fun with this later. All right. Yeah. So, Liam, with the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge that there might have been a switch there, you do search the compartment bit. You search the bit of the sarcophagus where you're not touching the bodies, or at least I hope you're not. Well, what are you doing? How far are you
Oh.
investigating in this?
Oh, thorough. I don't care about bodies.
Thorough. Okay, good to know. You move around a little bit. You check the inside walls of the sarcophagus. You don't find anything as of note. However, with the investigation check of the 18, you do see a small glimpse that there is a small sort of hole on the bottom of the compartment as well.
I'll check it.
Okay. You try to move. You try to check the hole.
Mhm.
It's nothing's budging, and you can't see anything through it.
Okay, can't reach into it.
Oh yeah, I need to mention how big the hole is. I realized I didn't do that. Sorry, terribly sorry. It is big enough for a hand That's about the best you got for your hole.
Yep. I'm
Because-
going to
but
stick
because-
my hand
yeah.
up the hole.
You're gonna stick your hand right in there.
Yep.
You're gonna put it right in the hole.
It's just going in.
Giggity.
How
I was
far
about
can
to
we
say
go
that.
with this?
Has
I'll
anyone
stop.
got a white glove friend put on?
I'll stop. Anyway, I needed this. I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, Liam. Okay, you put your
Yes.
your hand right in there,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel something gooey inside.
And I don't think it's Jello.
We don't know that yet.
Again, I'm trying to make it funny.
Tabaxi tribe Jello makers confirmed.
You know what? I'll try to scoop some of it out.
Okay.
Dude, try to breathe, man.
I know. As you scoop some of it out, it begins to burn your hand. You actually get the sense that this is a liquid acid that you have just scooped up. And it is now burning into you. You do take... Yeah, I get to roll a dice for a change. Thank God. I get to roll something. You do take 5 points of acid damage on your hand as it begins to burn through. But as you pull your hand out, Magnus, you get a glimpse and you can see the liquid just dripping off and the acid is just going back through the hole. And as it hits the bottom of the sarcophagus, you can hear the slight... as it touches the surface of the sarcophagus's floor.
And this is why I don't go grave robbing.
I'm not grave robbing. I'm investigating.
Said Tutankhamun.
Said Howard Carter.
There you go. Anyway, yeah.
This is like calling the
The pot calling the kettle black.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to say.
All right. Topaz.
Yes?
What are you doing in this? Like watching this at the moment? Are you just standing back, or what are you doing in this scenario?
I'm standing back watching these two people act like idiots.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
Because like it seems like one of them was to play grave robber, even though he's not.
All right. Okay. At this point, Aeon,
Yes.
you do get a glimpse when you see the acid dripping off of Liam's hand. Something clicks into your mind. I would like you to roll a D100 for me, please.
Okie dokie.
Time for some DM fun. Wild magic. Yeah, that's Aeon's class, guys. You sussed it out.
Yeah, everybody burst into flames.
Ooh, 96. Okay.
My mistake,
Yeah, that-
potted plants are everyone.
That'll do it. All right. Aeon, seeing the acid, you recall being encased in a green liquid. An image plagues your mind, and hearing the sound of faint sizzling all around you. The sounds of cackling, just grating your ears as you do so. And as you have your eyes closed in this scenario, you open them slowly, and staring right back at you, staring in the face, is a pair of eyes and a hand printed right in front of you. And all you basically hear is, "How long before it's ready?" And the vision fades.
Creepy.
Quite.
I love Raven's face there, like, what?
So, Triple just now
It's
point out
fading
something.
almost,
Oh, hang on a second. Aeon, what's up? Sorry?
as it's fading almost instinctively. I just snarl and lash out in directions
Yes.
where I think the hand is.
Fair enough. Yep. So hold on. Let's have a look where everybody is. You are near Topaz. Okay, make an attack roll, Aeon.
Oh!
Well, yeah. So Topaz doesn't even know that this is happening. So Topaz, you turn around, you hear this, and you see the Leonin, just lash out.
Hey, dude, chill. Dude,
All right.
chill.
Make an unarmed claw attack. Oh, 23. Does that hit your armor, Lena?
Yes, because my armor class is 16, so yes, I do take a lot of damage.
Roll the damage of your unarmed claw.
I don't actually roll it, so to speak.
Oh, okay.
5 points.
Oh, he instantly does 5 points. Yeah, so you take 5 points of damage, Topaz, and just slashes right against you. You can feel the pressure of this as it goes into the back of you as you turn around, just like, huh? Ah! And the rest of you now look and you see Topaz just kind of, and the snarl, and you just see the lion creature now basically just like, just gasping,
Whoa.
just lost, just kind of like coming back.
Okay,
Right, at this point, I've drawn my dagger and I'm ready to attack if need be.
I'm going to back away.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Trip is still distracted because she's going to say something.
All right, go on, Trip, very quickly.
What is this scroll here? By the way, Brownie, before I say anything else, you didn't describe how old or new the scroll looks like.
Nobody asked.
I'm asking.
Okay, because you know what, you did get the nat 20, so I'll be fair. You know what? I will tell you. The scroll is completely new.
Okay. This scroll looks too new to be part of a old grave of next to a dragon. Way too new. And then Trip notices what's going on. Huh?
You do.
Okay, do what you want, guys.
All right. Yeah. So it's up to you if you want to respond to that or do anything. It's up to you, or we can just carry on a little bit. It's up to you.
You okay there?
Yeah, I
Leo?
just looked somewhat freaked and disoriented.
Oh, that's nothing new.
At
I'm
that
still calling him
point,
Petrin.
You realize at the end of all this, you're gonna have to put up with a name at some point.
I know, but we're gonna have fun with this as long as we can, eh, Moon?
Oh yeah.
The question, and this depends now if Aeon gets the right number to trigger the memory of a name. So I'll say this right now, it just depends on whether you two break him with a name, or Aeon recalls a memory that gives him one, and he gets to come up with it.
So goody.
Oh, Chopper.
Okay,
He moved. Chopper moved. What do you
Oh.
guys?
Magnus moved. Oh, he's going to the lion. He's going to the lion.
Yeah, and also Liam moved, so I'm gonna wait.
No worries. Okay, Magnus.
I'm just there for backup, basically.
Oh, okay, you're watching that. Okay, so Magnus, as you approach, you can see this look of sort of within the Leonin's face. He's just there, not sure what to make of all of this. And then, Aeon, you look at your hands, and from the claws, you see a green liquid coming out of the nails.
Green again.
Do I also see that?
Yes, because you're in the vicinity a bit. Yes.
I'm going to try to touch the green liquid.
Okay. You touch the liquid.
Boop.
Is it
You get
acid?
No.
Actually, it does have the same shade as the liquid that you scooped up, but it's not burning your hand this time. Gods can't believe this. I worked on this.
If it was acid blood, we were gonna say one thing. We need Ripley.
Shut up. Stop it. All right. Yes. So it's got the same shade as the acid you scooped up, but it's not burning your hand this time.
You mean it?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was just thinking. I think he's trying to word what to say.
Yeah, I'm also thinking which Ripley. Are you thinking about Alien Ripley? or-
Yeah, that one, because that's acid blood. Remember?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you know what? I think we'll progress this a little bit because I have to. Topaz, I would like you to make a history check for me, please.
Okay.
Well, I was gonna grab the scroll, so because
All
Trip
right.
is like,
if you want to grab the scroll, you can grab the scroll if you want.
so Trip eventually decides, you know what? It shouldn't be part of her grave. It's too new. Something's up, and we know Dixon was here and
Never
guards, and we know Archie probably did not put a new scroll in there. So
What's
So you
taking-
as you pull the scroll,
Yeah.
you see a wire attached to the ribbon, and it goes through there, through the bottom,
Okay,
through the
just-
bottom of the floor. And as you do it, you hear a
uh-oh,
click.
Good,
Uh-oh.
Carlo.
uh-oh.
And as you do so, give me a second.
One.
and what was the check you wanted me to make?
History.
History. Okay.
Some fun with this. 12. Okay. All right. Good to know. We'll get to that in a second. So yeah, Trip, you pull the scroll and you hear a click.
Mm-hmm.
Trip, what did you do?
And you hear a faint noise echo around you all. And then it stops.
Nothing.
It was a tripwire.
Oh.
Right, goodbye.
Go back!
Oh my god. Ever go to the Netherlands, you're getting a smack. You're getting punched right in the mouth.
I wish
All
I wish I had a frying pan.
Well, because of that bad joke, everybody takes 10 points of psychic damage, and Liam gets disadvantage.
Okay.
Even the no, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh,
I'm joking.
add 10 points. Jesus, it's hard.
That was a fucking bad one, though. I hate it. All right,
Anyhow.
but yes, that's what happens. You pull the scroll and. Well, actually, to be specific, the noise you hear is like a.
Like a door.
Did something close or open? I don't know. Ursula, can you cut the wire?
I can certainly try.
Make it. You're gonna cut the wire?
No.
No, I'm going to inspect the wire before I start cutting.
Okay, make an investigation check with proficiency, because as a rogue, this should be what you're good with.
Well, it
A
isn't, 'cause
16.
I only have a +2.
I like Aaliyah was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
All right. Just sorting that out. Okay. You check the wire, and you see that this wire has been. It's a little hard to cut into, because it's quite a sturdy little piece of string. But as you look through it and look through the hole where the small wire goes in, you see a small set of what looks like sort of the equivalent of gears of some kind. And essentially, the best way to describe it is think of the layout as you got for the sarcophagus there. You know, the sideways view like that. The so this is so essentially think of me as like what the scroll is. So there's like the scroll is there. You pulled the scroll, and the wire is gone through the body, and in the middle of the body are the two gears.
So this body's a fake.
Raven, why?
You know what I say?
What?
We found you, faker!
Faker? I think that's the fake body around here. You're comparing that to that one? Huh? I'll make you eat my sword. Sorry. Thank you, Sonic Adventure, for the stupid meme. Faker.
Well, this investigation is going like clockwork.
Oh. Stop. Anyway,
Gears.
carry on.
I get it.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's what you see. That's what you see, Ursula.
All right. Judging by what I'm seeing, I'm just going to leave the wire and I'm going to look at Trip. So I would honestly put that back if I were you. I don't trust it.
Mm,
No.
But, and then she's like, but if I let it go, wouldn't that go off anyway?
It might actually go
know.
off only if you let it go.
Yeah, you can see.
How long are you able to hold that like that?
Question: how far is it removed from the point? Is it over? Can you put it over an edge? Can you put a rock on it? Or...
Oh right. Okay. So essentially, if you the best way to describe it is the sarcophagus is big enough for two people.
Mm-hmm.
The wire is through the one closest to Trip, which is best way to ping us. Think of that there. Trip is on this side. There is this. The body is on this side of the sarcophagus towards her, and the wire is basically from there. And at the minute, it is about that far out. So it's over the edge of the sarcophagus, but only just. So it is roughly about maybe 5-6 feet at this point.
Maybe lean it over the edge and put something on it, then you can cut it, and maybe it doesn't trigger something. I say when I'm outside of the chamber.
What do I have that we can use as a weight?
Are you all having fun with this puzzle?
Yes.
Oh, it's a puzzle.
If we let the
since
wire
this
go back,
building is
start talking.
Wait, what was that, Aeon?
I said, if we let the wire go, does the body start talking?
Since this is pretty old, this building, are there some loose bricks or anything that I can find around here-ish?
Make a perception or investigation check, your choice.
Investigation.
Also,
While
your
you do
hand's up
that-
with your hand's up with you, by the way.
Yep. Ooh. Okay. Just before we carry on, by the way, Topaz.
Yeah.
Let's see. Your history check was a 12, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. A small bit of a history. With that 12, I will tell you some information about one of the two sarcophaguses.
Okay.
Which one would you like? The top one or the bottom one?
So basically, this is a pick your poison.
Could be. See, where the evil forest theme works so well.
Sorry, there's a cat attacking my hand.
Which one are you having, Lena?
Yeah, what the heck? Let's go with the one near that Trip and Ursula are at.
Oh, the one where they are with the tripwire.
Yeah.
I won't do that joke again. Sorry. I won't steal it from Raven.
Give me a second.
Alright. Alright, so the top one. You're able to discern because of the Tabaxi upbringing that you had. You're able to recognize some of the scratch marks, which you know, depending on the structure of those marks, is sort of like a hidden language to yourself based on your tribe.
Okay.
On the top one where you are there, you see only a single name. You see the name of Green Garden.
Okay.
The only history you know of Green Garden was the second Tabaxi ruler, way before your time. And the one thing that you know about her is with the powers of nature that she's said to possess, it was said that with a wave of her hand, she was able to bring any type of life to any scenario. And thus, that is why some of the life had lasted so long, because of her ability to do this, creating trees and flowers in nature to make the oxygen up in the mountains easier to breathe. As the time went on, that ability to adjust to the air did disappear when Green disappeared, but then her body was recovered and was put to rest.
Gotcha.
All right. Oh,
Come back.
I just got a call for a second interview right now, so I gotta go.
Again?
Noise, Chopper. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Later.
Sorry, guys.
All right.
Peace.
I thought he said. I didn't know if he said peace or please.
Yeah, he
Oh.
said peace.
I thought he was just like, please,
Just
please what?
kind of like saying peace out in a way.
Yeah, I get you. But yeah, so that's what you get there. So Green Garden is the presumed one dead in this tomb.
Okay.
Then where's there two? Oh well. Oh well, one body's fake, so yeah.
Good thing she picked that one, huh? All right. So, what? So yeah, Liam, your check for the rock. Sorry. Oh right, the check for the rock. 24. Yeah, you find a good amount of them. There are a few scattered around, partially from the bits of rubble that have been scattered around based on this, from a pillar, from some of the sarcophagus that have been knocked down because of your friend's strength moving the lids. So yeah, you're able to find a good little chunk of one if you want to use it.
Yeah, I'll just chuck them inside. Like, here you go. Weights. I'm not getting in.
I'm going to go to the pile, grab one big one, and bring it back so that we can put it on the wire.
Okay. So you're putting it on the wire.
Yep. I'm gonna
Okay.
help Trip lay it down and then put the rock on the wire.
I do
Okay.
everything she says because
You don't want to die.
no, not dying's not the problem. It's more like oops.
I don't want to make it worse. All right, but yeah. So Trip, as you pull on it and such, as you place the stone on it, do you let go of the scroll?
Once it's secure enough for me, yes.
Okay. I want you to make a perception check to see if you can discern if it's on tight.
Let me double check.
Raven!
Did he do?
Look at his camcorder.
Okay.
Ivan!
The wire.
The
Good
wire.
one.
Oh, this is why I miss the cams. I miss it for this random shit.
Well, hey, this makes it more enjoyable.
That's the reason I wanted it. All right, 14. You got a good hunch it looks secure. The only way to know to find out.
It looks secure. I think we can check the scroll. Question? No, that's a question mark, but you know. Huh?
You're gonna unravel the scroll?
No, I'm to say the scroll is secure, so I was like, we can cut the
okay.
wire from the scroll. I think Ursula froze. Oh.
I will cut the wire right at the scroll.
Okay. Make an attack roll for me, please.
Wow, an attack roll of all things. Okay.
It'll be with the dagger, won't it?
If that's what you're using.
That is what I'm using.
21.
A 21? Okay, yeah, 21 will sort of do it. Roll damage. Just humor me.
Sneak attack.
Sneak attack on a wire.
Well, it never saw it coming. I mean, how can it see it coming?
Very funny.
No. So it's, all right, yeah, I'll say with that, yeah. You put a good bit of it, and it doesn't fully cut it, but you get a good little bit off it, and there is sort of this sort of... Another good hit like that might actually do it.
Right, and we'll make another attack then.
Roll! 10. With a little more eagerness, you go for the attack, and you know what? I'll humor this because this has been going on too long. Yeah, you cut through it, and as you do so, the wire stays under the rock that you've got. There is a faint, and that's all you hear. Though it didn't last, though the sound didn't last as long as the first time.
Interesting. I say we get out of the room before we open up that scroll, though. What do you say?
Trip nods.
All right, let's start going.
Trip takes the scroll with her, walks towards the door,
Topaz, you're watching everyone go out the room at this point. What are you doing?
I am also leaving.
You're gonna leave? All right. Magnus is gonna just follow suit. What's the lion friend doing in it? Oh, actually, Magnus goes, "You come with me," and he's gonna grab your claw. Do you willingly take it? Aeon?
No.
Oh, you're gonna resist.
I'm not going to attack. I'm just going to shake his hand off.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? Make a strength check.
That is saving throw. That's a check. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. You know what?
What? 4?
We know Magnus
Nice.
doesn't have much to go on. Well, Magnus has a lot to go on.
Well, he can just use the vorpal blade.
Yeah, he beats that without even the modifier. Yeah. You try to move your hand away, but he grips you a little tighter and just goes, "Come on, it's for the safety of yourself. Come on."
Fine.
Fair enough. So he does take you both out of the room. So you both go out the room. Okay, you're all out of the room now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
So Heidi has the
It
scroll.
should be okay to open up the scroll then.
As long as I back off first, yes.
Well, you're in between a wall and a tabaxi, so...
Both don't frighten me.
Fair enough.
Okay, what are you doing?
Well, Trip is the one that has the scroll, so
Yeah,
unless
scroll.
she either hands it to me or opens it herself.
I hand it to Ursula because I ain't roguey.
Okay, I'm going to open up the scroll carefully then.
Just carefully. Okay. Right. As you uncover the scroll, how slowly are you opening this, by the way?
As I like it,
Or
like in the like in some of the movies, like kind of like Poe from Kung Fu Panda, just like
Yeah. Oh, kind of the.
just
Okay.
like in anticipation. I just can't.
All right. You open up the scroll. You open the scroll and nothing.
I was so ready for it, just saying, it's a trap.
I will confess, I was so tempted to do it, but it wouldn't make sense for what I have for this, so no.
okay.
I will confess I was so tempted to have it, but I'm not gonna lie. Oh, but the
Watch
other
it
one.
and-
Oh, but the other one. Bluff. Betty, what is it? Pull it from there. Wait. You just got MTV punked.
You know what would be funnier?
Go on.
I owe you.
I owe you.
No.
I owe you one fireball.
Oh, and
Yeah,
then Dixon
prepared.
actually
What
doing
was
it the
the
next
threat?
time, like, I cast fireball.
Nice, Aeon.
Yeah. Final words as you die. He looks at you. I owed you one. Boom. Anyway, but yeah. So you pull it back. You pull out the scroll. Nothing happens.
Is there anything written on the scroll?
There is something written on the scroll.
Might I read it aloud?
Yep. What languages do you speak?
Elven and Common.
It is written. It is a language you don't know. Then.
Okay then. I just turned it around to face the others. I'm like, who can read this?
I
Okay.
don't know. What's it written in?
I need to know what languages everyone can speak. So, Raven, you first.
Common, Dwarvish, Gnomish, and Orc.
No. Lena.
Hang on.
Okay, we'll come back to her in a sec then. Kotlol.
Common, Elvish, and Giant.
You do understand it. It is written in Giant.
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah,
nice.
hang on.
Okay. Then
Yeah.
I'm trying to see where I can find languages.
it should.
Should be
left.
around your character sheet in your description or your features and traits.
No, proficiencies in languages.
Yeah.
No worries there. All right. Well,
Okay.
we'll see if she gets that in a sec. But yeah, so yeah, you do understand it. Curious. Aeon, what languages do you speak? Just we want to see if anyone does anyone else speak Giant?
I believe Topaz does, but I'm
Giant.
trying to find it.
Aeon.
You said it's in proficiencies in. What?
I
Wait,
don't
is that
speak giant.
you don't?
I don't.
It
Okay.
should. Okay. Lena, you're on D&D Beyond, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm already checking.
Let Raven check.
Bottom left.
Yeah, caught the answer is yes.
Oh, yep. Common and Giant.
Should be the bottom left
Okay.
of your
Yep. So
sheet.
yeah. So Topaz knows what this is too. Yep. So yeah, you do see the scroll here. The scroll to the rest of you looks like a load of mixed up sort of symbols and such. The giant symbols, not like that. You understand? The language states the following phrase on it. It says, "To one's own eyes, perceive the other."
Okay. I relayed the information, but in a way, I said like, it says to one soul's eyes. What was the other sentence again?
To perceive one's eyes, perceive the other.
To perceive
Yep,
one's eyes, to perceive the other.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Topaz, Yeah, Topaz's languages are common in Giant. I found it. Thank you.
Where's there's all that?
So yeah.
Make of that what you will.
Means nothing to me.
Same.
In the
Interesting.
I love this as a DM. As a DM, I'm loving this.
You are having a lot of fun with this, aren't you?
Maybe this just makes sense in Giant.
I'm more confused why.
Could you care to repeat what it said, please? I didn't catch that.
To perceive one's eyes, perceive the other.
Okay. Before I go on, first it's like, why is there giant written here? That's kind. I didn't see any giants. Huh.
Yeah, they really stand out, you know.
Trip
Maybe
gives
we
Liam a
could
look of like, really? You saying it to a giant?
Yeah, because of, the size and stuff.
I'm going to smack Liam upside the head.
I smack back.
Okay, you both take 1 point of damage.
Maybe Archgem knows?
Yeah, I'm just watching this exchange with curiosity and bewilderment.
Maybe Archgem knows? Oh, wait, I know some. Oh, wait, I have an idea. And Chip goes through her bag for a moment. And she pulls out. Let's see if it's. And she pulls out a bit of rations.
Rations.
Yeah. So it's like holding. She holds the rations and then looks at her lying companion. Are you hungry, Patrick? Yes, I went there.
I'll take the offered rations,
Yeah.
sniff at them curiously, and then try a bite.
Okay. You try a bite. It's all right.
So, Leo, do you want some water? And I grab my water skin.
This is like turning into loving Nintendogs.
Alright. I'm gonna take the scroll and I'm gonna see if Archgem knows anything.
Okay.
Passing Liam's dog as I do.
Fair enough. Okay. As you make your way into the room, you see Zelion having a conversation with Archgem. And as you approach, Zelion just sort of goes, hi, Ursula.
Hi, Zelion.
What's going on?
We checked the other room in the back, and there's a bunch of weird tombs that are trapped with acid back there. And we got this, and I hold up the scroll with the language of giant on it. And because Archgem can't see it, I describe it to her. And then I read out, it has a riddle on it that we don't understand. And it says...
Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Archgem just looks over and just goes, really?
Yeah, the riddle is to perceive one's eyes, perceive the other.
Perceive one's eyes to perceive the other. I love that Aeon is actually thinking about it.
I'm also thinking about it, but I have an idea. But Trip is too big. Is just being Trip at the moment. That's the fun part.
Wait, Cot has an idea.
Oh, God.
Stop it!
I will leave again, and then I won't come back.
No.
More puns come back.
Anyway, I'll stop. But yeah, Archgem just looks and goes, "You said it was written in Giant."
Yeah, which is the strange part, because this is a Tabaxi temple.
It is. I wish I could say I knew much more, but I've been trapped for so long. I kind of lost track on everything that happened. So I couldn't really say anything else, so I wouldn't be able to know much more help.
If it does help though, the scroll looks extremely new, not decrepit and decaying like the bodies and other treasures we found in the coffins.
Wait, you checked the coffins?
That's where we got the scroll from.
Oh. I pray that they will not. I pray that their hands will not curse you on your days.
What do you mean?
Those tombs contain the bodies of the previous emperors who led the who are the previous chiefs of the village of the Tabaxis. Each body that resides within those is the former leader of the next. The current leader, or the new one who takes charge, buries the body when it is their time to pass, and they leave them in the tomb of their choice, with each tomb representing a different society.
There's 2 tombs back there with 2 or 3 bodies each.
Wait,
So,
did you say 2?
yeah.
That is strange. There should only be 3 bodies, not 4.
Hmm. Honestly, I couldn't tell you because I just don't know. I thought you would know something about this, so I came to you.
Well, the scroll I don't know much about, but I can at least tell you that the count of the bodies is wrong. For you see, each of those tombs would house the spirit of the previous tabaxi related to their length of reign.
Hmm.
For those that reigned for a short amount of time would be presumed to go into the one of the tombs. In the other tomb would be the body of those that reigned the longest of the all would be the longest of all. In short, I guess you could say it's like separating them into their age of reign. Those that are leaders who are chosen to not be fit for reign, their bodies would be thrown off the mountainside and fed to the Arctic wolves.
Lovely.
Timeshare.
To my absolute to my
So it's like a sorting of ages, as it were.
yes. Those that have lasted at least 30 years as a leader would be classed as long. Anyone under 30 would be a short period. And the leadership reign time starts when the new one fully takes over, when the dead one is buried.
Hmm.
I know your eyesight isn't keen, but how is your sense of smell?
I can tell that I can at least smell the scent of acid that has been depleted in my temple on the other side.
That is very well. You can you determine age of bodies?
I I could give it a try. Why do you ask?
Because if there's more bodies than you remember in those tombs, we might have skipped a few generations before the Tabaxi clan became not a clan. Before the incident happened at this village.
Hmm.
I just want to be sure of it. Otherwise, I'm thinking one of those tombs is a trap. Like a death trap.
And you wish for me to use my smell to discern which one of these is fake?
That's my idea.
Well, make a persuasion check.
Hey, you finally get to persuade the dragon.
Yep. Roll fucking eye.
Well, it's a good
Well,
one.
does a 22 help?
It can certainly try.
Fuck. It was a 20. It was a 20 DC. I had a feeling you would go flat.
Nice.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, she looks over at you for a moment and goes, "You understand that I am a dragon, not a sniffing hound. But
Yeah, I understand that.
We have
It was just an idea.
Tiny's still here.
Archdim is part dragon, part bloodhound.
I now just expect the Tabaxis going into battle on horses. They play the bugle, and Archim just comes out going roof, roof, roof. Go on, Jim, thanks.
I'm glad I was able to make your
But,
day. I'm glad
Brownie.
I was able to help you.
What about Tiny? Tiny's still there. Didn't Tiny,
Yeah,
head out?
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Sorry.
I mean,
almost forgot about that.
The reason Tiny was still here is technically gone, so...
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Tiny is gone. Yeah. What about that?
So
Thanks for
I
reminding
just
me.
double check. I just triple check. Like, wait, we still have Tiny. Wait, couldn't Tiny already be heading out because mission
Yeah,
accomplished?
and as you look around, Tiny is gone.
Where did the woofer go? Oh wait, there's a metal one right next to me.
Wolf.
Woof.
Bark.
Anyway, but Archgem just looks at you and just goes, "Fine. I presume I did give you... you did help... you and your colleagues did help me, so... Fine. A personal favor, I guess."
It would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Oh, great! The dragon gets to see how Volcanus' protector is having a debate with another person about naming someone.
All right. So Archgem does make her way slowly over, and she makes her way squeezing through the corridor, just about.
Supposed to be made for
And-
that, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like it was like this whole. It's like the dragon was scaled to fit.
Mm-hmm.
One size fits all.
Winter knows
Anyway.
that she follows because Tripper's like, oh, wait, dragon. He did it.
All right. So as Archgem makes her way into the room, all of you on the other side, you do hear the sound of. And you basically get the sound of sniffing. It goes for about 2 minutes, and then she backs up back into the center room. Though I do not sense any maliciousness for some reason attached to it, I can definitely tell that one of the bodies in the long tomb is indeed fake. I do not get the sense of a leader. As to what it is exactly,
Knew it.
I don't know, but something about it doesn't seem normal. But I do get the sense of acid smell, and it's coming from both of them.
Those
But
avoid
it
it.
seems stronger though. And she sort of points her nose through the wall towards that one.
So the south one is filled with more acid, but the one with the head off.
Well, there was a hole with acid around there. So it makes sense that it's stronger there.
I shouldn't be laughing. I shouldn't be laughing at this. I'm sorry.
Look, I just went straight in with my hand, and here, you can smell it.
That is indeed acid. That is
I know.
That is the clear as the air I breathe. But there's something strange about it, though. It doesn't seem to be just acid. If it was full acid, you would have probably lost your hand the moment you dumped it in. But it took some time to set, did it not?
Oh, it dripped right off.
This is very strange. Just what have those fiends done to my hollow temple?
Also, the hand is no longer scarred because, you know, changeling. So anyone who would actually pay attention to that, they can see that.
Trip didn't. Because Trip. I said Trip didn't. Because Trip.
Yeah.
Wait, Liam.
Ah.
You just said you dumped your hand in acid?
Yep.
Ursula's gonna go over to Liam and take off his glove. Then why are there no acid burns?
That's my little trick.
Ursula, make an insight check.
I was just about to do that.
Was Ursula on the dragon with me when that happened, or was that someone else?
Oh wait, no. Ursula was with you during that incident. Yes, it was the incident. It was the incident when you made your way to the southern mountains and you came across those fucking magic cannons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Trip,
That.
Trip wasn't there. I know that. Trip doesn't know.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
It's in my notes.
16. I mean, do you want to deceive it, Liam, at all, or not?
Well, if they already know, it's they wouldn't.
I guess it
inside
depends. I guess it depends if you want to deceive it to Topaz, Trip, and the lion.
Oh yeah, I'm deceiving that.
Okay, make a deception check.
Hey, it's the other show we
Right, I forgot I
don't
did
do.
Oh, 23.
Okay. Good.
All right. So, Ursula, you do get a sense that there's something a little bit off, but you're still trying to picture about it, and you think, I think I know what, but maybe I best not ask. The rest of you three are just like, how do you do that? He dipped
Look,
his hand in
potions
acid.
heal.
Yeah.
Trip was like healing. Like healing.
Magic. Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. I remember when we first found out that he was a changeling. Okay. Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
The others don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah.
I am
Well,
derp.
It's all right.
It's okay.
But yeah, so that's what you get from Archgem. So Archgem's just like, I don't know if I can be much more help than that.
Mm.
You've been plenty help already. Thank you, Archgem.
It is my pleasure. Now, I wish to go reconvene with Zelion and that father of yours.
Erickson.
Mm-hmm. Trip nods. Okay.
He makes his way back there, and unbeknownst there, I'll just say that Erickson is with the conversation now. Because nobody asked what he was doing, which was my fault too.
Who
All right.
cares?
So, what are you gonna do? You gonna keep exploring? You want to talk more to our lion friend? What are you gonna do?
Check on a live friend.
You're gonna talk to the lion friend? As long as the words, do you want a biscuit? Have a
Actually,
biscuit.
I'm going to follow Arch.
Oh.
Actually, I'm going to follow Archgem and just kind of listen in on their conversation. Maybe not being in the room precisely, but I'm going to, like, be the sneaky rogue that I am.
Okay. But
Okay. Make a stealth check against a fucking dragon.
Yay!
and a bard.
That's gonna be easier said than done.
Oh, 26.
Not when it's my proficiency.
Okay.
Still dragon.
Let me double check exactly what the stats are for a fucking white dragon.
In the meantime, I'm just gonna do the. I don't think I need Brownie for this. Trip looks curiously at the lion friend and goes,
Oh my fucking god.
Is it an ancient white dragon?
It
Well,
is.
oh.
It is an ancient,
Oh,
and she beat the passive perception of it.
yeah.
So she actually is successful.
Okay.
If you must know, its passive perception is 23.
Oh my god!
and if they had to roll, it was a plus 13 on the perception.
Yeah,
But-
you know what? You know what? Just for laughs and giggles. Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll keep that hidden.
May I?
Yes, Aeon? Oh, Aeon's got something as well. What's up, Aeon?
No, I was basically asking, did you roll a nat 1?
No.
Okay. Can I continue? Hey, Patron. What does the color green mean to you? Or is it red? Or are you colorblind?
Are you talking to Leo?
Yes. I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna keep doing this.
Eventually, this is your fault. This
No.
is your fault for not giving yourself a name.
Yeah, it's Aeon's fault.
Indeed.
Okay, Heidi. All right. So yeah. You got conversation. So color green. You know what? Aeon. Let's have some fun.
Yes. Fun!
Roll a history check with disadvantage, please.
Thing?
Might as well have some fun with it. You just had a memory. We'll see what it triggers.
I do have one of my feats that might play with that, but I'm going to ignore it for the sake of this because it's a bit more fun. Right, disadvantage.
Yep, disadvantage if you would, please. Oh, wow!
That's not a big difference.
It's not bad. 15. Okay. So just remind me what the question was exactly, Cotlow.
What does the color green mean to you? Or red? Or are you colorblind, perhaps?
Okay. Okay. So to sum up one thing, Aeon, no, your color is not colorblind. Just for record.
Okay. I don't know.
The color red seems normal. The color green makes you feel fear. It makes you feel trapped. It makes you feel hurt. It basically makes you feel like it's a color you don't want to be around.
Wait for reaction.
Yeah, as I think that. Is there still any of that green liquid on me, or is that sort of dripped off, dried, dissipated?
It's dripped off. It's dripped off at this point, but there is a small. At this point, there's no signs of it right now, but there's still like a faint sort of drip off of Topaz, but it's like a small amount of it before it just runs dead. So yeah, so there's like a few little drips, but not much.
just look at my hand where it was, and I just go, green, bad.
Trip nods and speaks up. So, green bad. We know green in there acid, similar green to that, which means he was in one of the tombs for sure. Right? Is this how detecting works? I'm not a detective, but is that how it works?
You get a shrug in response to that.
Same.
Topaz.
No, it's all right. Don't worry.
Yes.
So you hear Trip basically just sort of going with this theory about that this lion was somehow involved in one of these tombs, and she's just like, I don't know. Is that how detective works? Like, do you have a response to Trip going? Is this how detective works? Or do you just look at her with just nothing?
Well, I asked Trip what was it that he said.
Do you want to respond with it just quickly again, Cart, just to verify, just to make sure I said it right?
No, he said exactly in the same direction, not one-to-one direct, but as direct as can be.
Hmm.
So it's like, so green bad, green the green is the same as acid. Acid is in tombs. He was probably in the tombs at one point. Does that make sense? Is that how detective thing works?
So it's like she's questioning detectiving.
She's questioning if she's correct on her theory, and if she's detectiving right.
I'd say your theory makes sense, but there is something that does bother me.
Me?
He said green bad, right?
Trip
And
nods.
this is directed towards Trip.
Trip nods.
Okay, so green. Okay, so the color green freaks him out. Oh boy. Topaz then has a. She imagines a scenario with him in with this Leonin in a forest. And she kind of has this oh crap look on her face, like, oh god, if he were in a forest, he would completely demolish it.
I could see it there as a leaf falls. Dripping acid. I could see that. That's fun. I love that. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's about that. So, all right. Yeah. Just to briefly bring up. What are you doing, Aeon? He's making a note. He's making a note. He's making a note. Oh no.
No particular reason.
Lena, what have you done?
Aeon was just riding a smoothie. It's fine.
Here's the thing. Well, here's the thing. I'm just gonna nickname him Leo for right now.
Hey!
Oh no.
Pocket card.
Patra David.
I mean, like, the dude said green bad, so we know their green freaks him out. And Topaz just imagined him in a green forest.
That's fair.
With an oh crap look on her face, like, okay, if he's in a forest and he sees green all around him, he is going to have PTSD like no one's business.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Ursula.
Yes, sir.
Back to you for just a moment. You sneak your way back behind the dragon. Maybe I should show what I rolled, just for the sake of humor. 19.
Plus 13.
32, bitch!
Language.
English.
Hey, he's the DM. He can say whatever he wants.
Same for all of you?
Oh shit.
Yeah, you go. All right, but
You.
yeah. Anyway, so you make your way back there, and as you do so, you sneak behind one of the side walls just enough to hear. And as you do, you hear Zelion talking to Archgem. And what you hear is the following phrase a bit there. Tell me, so you really don't know anything? I'm sorry. All I know is that cave is off limits to someone like me. If I knew any more about that, I would be happy to give you your wording. I see. Maybe. What are you doing, Cotlol?
Kitty, that's how I have.
Oh,
Kitty,
sorry. I
kitty.
thought you were like ruin moment.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway,
There.
so sorry. Back on topic. So, do you think it'll be safe knowing that we might have more wording there? I mean, it's possible, but are you wanting to go back with the others? No. Maybe it's best if I check this myself. I don't want to drag Ursula into this all over again. She nearly drowned because of me. Maybe it's best if we get everyone back, and I just need a little time. This may be the only chance I have to actually discovering something. Might be the only thing I have. Well, if you're sure on it, what are you gonna say to them? What are you gonna say to your friends? I'll think of something. I mean, I gotta be good enough to do that, right? And Erickson looks and goes, take it from me. It's not easy to lie to people you care about. I mean, I did that enough to go for a lifetime. Just, you gotta know your wording carefully. You say the wrong thing to somebody, and it's going to come out as the worst thing in the world. You come out with the right thing, and it could be soothing enough that they'll at least understand. You're gonna have to just do what's right for yourself. Oh, yes, Heidi?
At this point, Ursula's just going to make a little scowl, just like eyebrows furrowing, and she's sort of like,
Oh, I knew this was going to get a reaction somehow. I would also like to point out this conversation has all been supplied by Dell. Thank you, Dell. Love you lots.
yay, we love Dell.
Yeah, Dell gave me all this info, by the way. But yeah, so that's what you hear.
Completely taken aback by what Zelion is planning, or what Ursula is going to be assuming she's planning. He's planning. She's just gonna kind of go into the corner and sit in thought. Still listening, obviously, but she's definitely heard enough to give her something to think about.
Okay. So, at this point, as this goes on, you know what? I think it's time for a little fun. Aeon,
Yep.
I want you to roll the D100 for me, please.
With pleasure.
You're generally all surprised by this puzzle thing, aren't you?
Oh no, I'm just letting everything seen out before I try anything. Having a bit of fun.
Ooh.
I mean, it's no fun if
81.
the party keeps splitting up.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's got... I mean, at least you got stuff to know with Zelion. I mean, I was going to spring this on you later, so... 81. Yeah. In response to Tripp's words about in one of these tombs, you suddenly get an image in your mind. You remember moving it back. You remember moving something and coming out of this green liquid. And you remember seeing before you the sight of a severed head And when you saw that head, you suddenly heard a commotion in the other room. That's all you remember.
Yay.
Okay.
I figured it was that one. As a player, I figured it was that one already, but Trip didn't because Trip doesn't know about the head.
Do with that info what you will, Aeon.
I think I'm going to head back into the room with the Sims.
Okay.
Okay. You all watch the lion figure go back into the rooms.
Eh? What? Patron? I follow.
Yeah. Magnus just goes, oh boy. Come back! Liam and Topaz are in the room, so if you two want to do or say anything, you are welcome to do so in response. Or you can just stand there if you wish. It's up to you.
Okay, let's see.
If you are moving, it's up to you. But while that's going on,
Leah?
if you want to move, it's up to you guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna be moving.
All right. Liam, are you just standing in the room?
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. Topaz there. So, Topaz, Magnus, and Trip, you make your way to the area where your lion friend is now there. And as you approach the tomb, you look inside. The bottom of the compartment is now open.
Huh. This is new.
And you see before you a giant vat that just the bottom of it now has opened enough that it is basically cut off just before the head area of the bodies. So the bodies aren't going in it, but they are out of the range.
Gotcha.
And at that point, Trip and Topaz, that is now where you see the site of the severed head. And with, let's see, what's your passive perception, by the way? Trip and Topaz, your passive perception.
13.
Passive perception. Hang on.
What number, Cup?
13.
13. Okay.
My passive perception is 15.
Ooh. 15. Then Topaz, you do recognize something.
All right.
The site of the severed head was one of the three figures that were there when the deal was struck. It is the severed head of Trilly's mentor.
I am then thinking to myself, I am so glad that Trilly went home.
Gotta give that last cock punch, don't you?
Here's what Topaz is saying to herself. She is saying to herself, I am so glad Trilly went home and she's not here to see this.
Huh?
Well, yeah, Trip overhears this, by the way.
I don't
Magnus
care-
looks, yeah,
I really don't care if Trip overhears it.
yeah. So Magnus looks at you as well and just goes, "What about Trilly? See what?"
Look, I then walk over to Magnus, and then I point into the drawer where the severed head of Trilly's mentor is. There's the reason why I'm wishing she wasn't here. This is why I'm glad she's not here.
And Trip and Magnus both see it and they go, "Well, I unfortunately have a bad idea to what maybe have happened if the head is still here. Where the hell's the body?
Trip does a little prayer. You know, cleric prayer.
She's offering a prayer to the deceased, right?
Yes, he is.
I thought so.
Okay. So Magnus just looks over and just goes, well, we solved one mystery. Now for the other one. Lion, does this make any sense to you whatsoever?
Okay, so essentially it's like tomb, compartment cover, and then it's like a...
Okay, to sum up the view here so you guys are with this. So this is the sarcophagus. You've got the lid here, which, based on the way it was, is now slid off that way, so it's now off the bottom of it. You now have two halves, essentially. You've got the dead bodies there, and what you saw before was a floor there. Now, the floor here is removed, and you see this acid-style pit. So the bodies are still on the same floor that you saw, but there's another bit to it now. So think of it as like an extra bit in this weird sandwich, if you would. So essentially the floor was one bread, but now you find there's another sandwich underneath it, if that makes sense.
Which almost looks like a sort of open tank of green, whatever.
Yeah, but the layer stops before the heads. So the heads are the bodies, the wrapped up bodies, aren't going in it.
Brownie, can I check if the liquid was similar to the liquid that was on the lion?
You can make either a perception or a medicine check.
Ah.
You can do medicine to be a bit more thorough, or perception to avoid having to get a little closer.
I know what I'm rolling then. Medicine.
Medicine it is. Oh, is that a 22?
That's a 22.
Yep, I can see. Yep, I can see it clear as day.
Thank you. Right, yeah. You're able to determine it is the same liquid. Or yeah, because there's a 22, I'll say it's the same shade. Though you didn't sense the sense of acid before, you at least get the sense based on its look that it definitely looks like it definitely is the same thing.
Then I'm gonna look at our lion friend, and I'm gonna check for any wounds.
Okay. Do you let him check? Or are you keeping your distance, Mr. Lion?
I fed you.
Okay. I want to take a few steps back from the tomb, but if Trip follows to check, I'm not gonna stop him.
Okay, then follow.
Okay. Make a medicine check.
Yay, same dies again. Same result for some reason.
Hey! 22. Okay.
I was like, oh yeah, same type of roll. Oh, same roll.
Fair enough. You do see a very small feint of acid burns, a little bit on the fur that is exposed in the clothing. But the acid has burned through the clothes, but there's no acid marks on his body.
Must be the same thing here. And then Trip says like, no acid burns on his... No acid burn on his skin. Oh, I know. It's Liam's healing trick.
Can you breathe?
Good.
Are you sure?
Yes. That's good though. Liam, could you just roll a d20 for me, please, just randomly?
I could.
Could you?
I'm just
Yeah, I
wondering
could.
if we need to call the ambulance.
No, I'm not. But not for me.
13.
13. Your ears prick to the think you being talked about. I'll just say you have a hunch if you want to do anything with it, or just like a, huh.
No.
No.
Fair enough. Okay. So yeah, you know that info.
So,
I wonder if I should have one more bit of fun. Aeon.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I would like you to roll a d6 for me, please.
Goody. I like rolling when I don't know
Yeah,
what the hell
so
it's
I'll
for.
just say this before you roll. Oh, I've not looked at the number, so I can't see it yet. A 1.
Oh!
Well, okay. In that case, I was going to officially say at this point, 1 or 2, you are at the DM's whim. This is my choice. What's going to happen?
Oh no.
If it was a 5 or a 6, then you had free choice. 3 or a 4, nothing happened. So one. So you got the 1. So as you see the acid there, you suddenly feel compelled to walk towards the sarcophagus again. You take your claw and you dip it into the acid. The sizzling is there. You feel it going into your nails once again. This sense of like you're just compelled to do it. As you do so, a voice echoes in your head. It rings out and just goes, "Suffer. You need to be strong. It's the only way. Be strong. Survive. You are my chance. More." And all of a sudden, you pull it out, and you're just there like, and you just look back at the others.
I guess cure wounds.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The acid burn is completely healed. I will say you've done that.
Oh, I don't have to do healing points. Okay.
Yeah. You're fine.
And that's another. And oh dear, my spell slots are running low. So heal, and now I don't boop the snoot. It's like heal, touch, back.
This
Heal ya!
this should help.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this should help heal ya! I had to do it.
That's cool.
Love me
So,
now,
yeah.
huh?
Ladies and gentlemen.
I am. All right. Aeon. Something rings a bit in your mind as you look at your claw. You remember something ringing in your ears multiple times, though the words suffer and stronger ring true. There is another thing that rings true in your mind. A few times before, you just kept hearing a word beginning with the letter M. But that's all you get. But you feel it's some kind of calling. Was it a name? Could be. That's all you get. Mixon.
Raven, I don't think that's what it is.
So yeah, that's what you get. So up to you if you want to do anything with that info. And just so you know, that's the last bit of fun. It's matron. Oh, matron. So yeah, up to you what you want to do.
Staring at my claw where it was previously burnt. I'm just going to repeat the last 2 words I heard. Or 4 words I heard. Strong. Survive.
I guess it... Well, I guess you're strong enough to survive that, so... Yeah, you're strong and surviving.
You think?
I don't know. I don't know these species. I don't know how they function. I'm just guessing, mostly.
Hey, look, the dude looks like a lion. So, and last time I checked, lions were strong.
I've only read about a lions, but never seen one. But, okay.
And then Topaz face palms like I'm talking about actual lions, you idiot.
Yeah, but Trip just said I only read about it. They don't know about anything.
Yeah. Pussycat!
Yeah, she woke up
Sorry.
again.
Pray to God that cat doesn't fart. Because that could kill you.
Anyhow.
Sort of a yeah, anyway, so at that point, Magnus does look over and just goes, so you only remember the terms survive and stronger, right?
Yes.
And you still don't know anything about a name or any type of branding, right?
No name.
Would you like us to give you one?
Leo!
I'm dying. I'm dying.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We may not know much about you, but if you don't have a name, it's a little weird to suddenly call you Lion Guy every time, or Mr. Lion. Don't!
Leon?
That wasn't it, but I'll take it. It's a lot better than what I thought was going to come out when I said that.
With Patrick again? Yes.
No, that wasn't it.
If Trip calls him that again, I'm gonna slap her.
But yeah, Magnus just sort of looks, just goes, well, have you thought about any type of name you'd like to be called, or do any of these two knuckleheads' ideas ring true?
If you say that name again, Trip, and so help me, I will end you.
Topaz is there, that's right.
At this point, Ursula is gonna meander into the room like, sorry, I just had to check on something. What did I miss?
They're trying to figure out a name for the big guy over here.
Oh. Okay. Has he remembered anything else?
He mentioned something about the words survive and strong.
But that's about it.
Okay. What about...
Maybe he could have something powerful like Masha.
Strongheart?
I then turned to Trip with a sweat drop.
Trip just like shrugs.
Like really?
Wait, Liam? Where's Liam? Liam! Liam!
Ursula, can you drag Liam in here, please?
I mean, I tried to get him over here, but he's kind of off in his own little world.
Typical.
Yeah, Liam, you said you knew something about these folks. What else do you know about them?
They haven't been here for years. They live in another plane of existence or something. Yeah.
Is that all you know?
Well, it's been a while.
Is this one? Do I have to read? Do I have to read this back, or are you generally just being dickish?
Both.
Adley,
Good answer.
Raven, you're honest. I love you. Okay, I'll read it again just briefly because I have it here. So, the Leonin guard the shining lands of the Oreskos, a golden plain where even the gods rarely trespass and they lay domain. Prides of these nomadic lion-like humanoids rarely interact with other peoples, having all they need in their shimmering homeland, and knowing the treachery of strangers and villains. Still, some Leonin wonder what lies around beyond the Oreskos border mountains and seek to test themselves in a wider world, whether that be survival, knowledge, or strength.
Like I usually are in the shining lands of Oreskas, I believe. It's a golden place where gods rarely trespass. You know, they usually stick there because it's fancy and stuff. But sometimes they go somewhere else, probably to test themselves. Pretentious pricks. Yeah. But
My type of guy.
they
Yeah,
have no need to be here. I
Yeah,
don't know.
you'd say that.
I'm sorry, did I trouble you?
No, not at all, actually.
Hey, Grandpa, how about you piss off?
Oh, you troubled that one though.
What about Orion?
What's an Orion?
No, just a random word that came to me. I'm just trying to make up words.
Second.
Do you have any ideas? Anything come to your mind, Lion Boy? I mean,
Ursula's gonna slowly raise her hand and look at the ground sheepishly. I mean, it's not much of a name, but what about Braveheart?
Well, lions are brave. I guess it would make sense. I mean,
What about Squall? Squall Leonhardt.
I saw it coming.
Well, Topaz now wants to whack Liam. Oh,
At least it's not. At least not Aslan.
I think you mean Aslan.
Funnily enough, I was looking up names, other languages for lions, and Arsland was actually, I think, Icelandic for lion. I could be wrong. I could have just switched to a different language, but at one point that was Arslan with an R, not Aslan.
Yeah. I mean, it's up to you, Aeon. If you want to go with any of the ideas, or if you have one you want to come up with, you could use anything else you could think of, or I could random name generate.
Leo. Then.
Huh?
What was that one again? Sorry.
Oh, that would have, of course, that wouldn't have gone through.
No, I
It
sort of
didn't-
heard it. I sort of heard it. What was the name you chose?
It just looks oddly distant and mutters the word Leo in.
Leonin.
You mean the race?
Yes, that's your race. Like, if you like my name, you can always also take that name. It gets confusing though.
Ursula's just going to look at Liam just with the...
Or take the name Ursula. That's fine as well.
You know, I kind of want to give him something. I kind of want to give him something cool, like, because he seems that acid doesn't affect him in some way.
Liam, it's cool.
You shut up. I asked for info about them, not a name suggestion.
Well, remember, Magnus, Liam was also immune to the acid, sort of. So I guess they used the same trick.
Maybe. And he looks at you, Liam, with a moment. And it's just like, nah, we got better things to worry about. So anyway, now that we seem to have a hunch on something about this, what are we gonna do now? I mean, Trilly's gone off back home. So what's our game plan here? Are we gonna go back to Creo now? Let the mayor know that everything's a-okay? So then that way I'm not the victim anymore.
I think we still have two things to think about.
Like what?
Well, we technically have all dragons here, and we need to talk about Arshim about, the black dragon.
Oh, right, the outlaws.
And second, why did Dixion's people put our friend here in this casket?
You got me.
Lack of other storage space? I don't know.
But the other one is pretty empty.
I doubt that's the case. Knowing the Black Pen the way that we do, and their love of super weapons, do you think maybe our friend was part of a project that they were working on? Kind of like how the Staff of Jirai was with my father?
Are you talking about like, they were trying to create life?
Maybe. Or at the very least manipulate it.
The species
If they didn't to this poor sap, I feel bad for him.
Well, the species were here earlier, so... He's a revived king! You can see Trip going like, he's a revived king!
That was one of my theories, but according to Archgem, that might not be the case anymore. I'm not sure, though.
Well, first things first, I guess we gotta get him. I guess we can first talk to Archgem, and then about that scroll thing, I have no idea. Something with eyes.
I already talked to Archgem about the scroll thing. That's why she came in to sniff out those caskets.
Yeah, about those eyes. The only person who would look for eyes is the one who doesn't have them, right?
Receive one's eyes, perceive the other. So, we have to look for somebody else's eyes. Perhaps Ursula's gonna go back to the other casket and look at it again.
You're not taking my eyes.
Okay, you're checking the other casket.
Yep, I'm gonna look for something that looks like eyes.
Okay, make a perception check. Oh, sorry, make a perception or investigation.
Investigation, because I'm looking for something specific.
Okay.
Damn it!
Not one!
Wow.
Yay! The same caskets!
I swear that thing's cursed.
I can actually agree to that this time.
You look about, nothing catches your eye.
Very funny, Chris.
I wish
I miss
I wish
Jenny.
I had Fire's frying pan right now.
That was unintentional. I'm sorry.
You can always have Brock's drying pan.
Get
Wait.
2 more chances before I leave this call.
Fine, we'll stop. Alright, but yeah, nothing of interest catches your eye.
Liam,
He's still typing too.
Raven.
I don't. Alright.
Wait.
Hmm?
Wait. Trip joins her, and then points out, wasn't one body fake?
Yeah. Stop distracting me.
Stop it.
Trip looks at the wire that's still there and follows it, and as you said, that will lead to the fake body, right?
Yeah, it goes into the fake body. The only way you'd be able to know if it goes further is you would actually have to literally move the body.
I'm gonna examine the body.
You're going to examine it?
Yep.
Okay, how are you examining it?
I'm mostly looking at the head to see if there's some sort of, at the eye region or the face area. No.
Okay. Make a perception or investigation check, depending on how close you'd like to get.
I'm gonna get nice. No. I'm just gonna go perception because I'm not gonna get too close so that I don't trip the wire, so to say. I know, joke, but
Mm-hmm.
9.
9. Okay. Alright. So, I presume, to give this a context to this, you're just looking at the body that's wrapped where the wire goes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. So best way I can describe all of this bit. Let's see, how do I wanna yeah. You go to going closer, and you do know what? Dexterity saving throw!
You hate me, don't you?
No.
Why do you hate me?
That's awesome.
Oh my god, like a cod's face.
6! And thus the fun starts. Alright. So you trip. As you get closer, you trip on a small bit of a pebble that's underneath you from one of the broken bricks. You stumble a bit, and your hand touches the body. And as your hand touches the body...
Does this mean she just desecrated a corpse?
That's not a
Wow.
corpse. It's a fake corpse.
Yeah, it's a fake one. You touch it, you suddenly hear this...
Rep,
and
where
in
you go?
in the corpse, a green eye gleams through the body.
I look back at it.
Then and the green eye looks back at you.
I look back at it. And blink.
It's an anime trope.
Do I see any of this taking place?
Yes.
From where Ursula be next to you? Yes, you've gone so and just gone, wait, why did you trip? Oh, kind of like that.
Found the eye.
And
You found an eye. That's something.
as it does so, you do hear a voice come out of the body as this happens. A voice sort of echoes out, almost non-living in some way, almost, to go against this with D&D terms, robotic.
That there is a race of robots, you know.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, automatrons. Yeah. Yeah. You hear the voice stating just like, please reinstate test subject. State test subject's identification.
Ursula's just gonna remain quiet.
The
Hey,
subject.
Topaz ain't seen a peep either.
And
That's because Ursula and Topaz aren't stupid.
but Trip is the subject. What? Huh?
Identification not registered. Please register identification of name for ID subject 0133.
Can I see this thing from across the room where I'm standing?
You're hearing the voice. And something about it seems familiar to you.
Is that voice triggering some kind of emotional response?
There is, yes.
Green Eye. Hey
You are
Liam,
here-
you're good with you know, this stuff, right?
What stuff?
Identification not registered. Final chance. Please register ID of test subject 0133.
Alexa, cancel.
God damn it.
I'm sorry, but Alexa Dungeon cannot operate and wish to close. Do you wish to send an error report?
Oh, darn it. I thought that would work.
Okay.
Well, Liam is
Before I-
in the. Oh, Liam is going to make it over. Okay.
Yeah. Is there anything I recognize about this?
Make an Arcana check. Give you one opportunity. 11.
I want to use that inspiration dice you gave me.
You know what? Go ahead. You gave me a good laugh. Go ahead. I'll give you one chance.
Wow, what with the double roll for the same thing?
Okay, I'm done.
Fair enough. Something about this seems a little familiar to you. It's like it's some kind of sort of security measure, but that's all you can tell. You're unable to tell exactly what might happen, what might not happen, or anything else along those lines.
You know what? I'm just going to tell everyone to get out of this room.
As you do so,
Yeah.
identification process unregistered. Opinion.
New designation, Alexa.
Opinion of thought. Intruders.
Cancel intruder alarm.
To cancel, please enter ID password of security.
You know what? I'm going to ask bluntly. Is that thing triggering some kind of hatred or annoyance or...
It is. It is giving you a sense of anger as well as sadness at the same time.
I want to let out a fucking battle roar. I want to step forward into range, and I'm gonna grab the whip that was attached to my belt this whole fucking time, and I'm gonna attempt to snag that, essentially grapple that thing with a whip. and pull it towards me.
All right. Roll an attack roll.
Trip is right next to. Where's Trip?
Trip is right. Trip has got a hand still on it. Because you haven't moved.
Yeah, that's why I was like, He does not move because he's like, crap, trap. I should probably not move because moving sometimes activates trap worse.
I will say that as Aeon is preparing, as Aeon's character is preparing the whip, the body begins to slowly sit up.
Hi.
Oh dear.
Trip ways. Like,
Ursula's gonna back up.
You can make a grapple check as an attack roll with strength athletics contested by the target's strength athletics or dex acrobatic.
All right. You're going to do a strength off then, or are you just going to attack it?
I'm going to do a fucking strength off.
You're going to grapple it. All right.
I have a favor to ask.
Mhm.
I'm gonna leave to go get some food. If the session is before I get back, can someone please DM me and let me know that the session ended?
Will do. Well, I should be
Thank
near
you.
the end anyway, because I'm at work for 6:30, so we'll be wrapping up in a bit anyway.
Okay, well then I'm just gonna hop out. Sayonara, peoples. It's been fun.
No worries.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
mate.
cool. I have to check something.
No worries. All right. Okay. Roll
That's
off.
a 20.
20.
Not a natural 20, a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Okay.
You get this cry, and all of you, as you hear this, you've watched as this whip just strikes straight against the side of Trip and Liam, both there, and just like, and it grapples hold of the thing. It looks down. Test subject 0133 is currently fighting back. Begin procedure of capture measures. I repeat, capture measures. Engage. Engage. And it breaks out the grapple. He rolled an 18. 18 plus 5, to be specific.
Wow.
Baron.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And as it does so, commencing Operation Encasement. Capture the subject and encase. Intruders encase for subjugation. And as that and as that happens, the door of the chamber that you guys are in is beginning to close. And that's where we'll end tonight's session.
It had to happen.
Cliffhanger, Chris, really?
He does
Yes,
it all
I
the time.
will.
Come on, he does it all the time. Are you even surprised at this point?
Bro.
I will save my second act for the start of next session then.
Yes, you will. Right, well, this should be fun. Also, I'm so glad you guys had such fun with this whole puzzle aspect.
Oh yeah, I just accidentally tripped over it in the end, but hey.
You know what? I'm actually going to be absolutely fair. I'm going to say this live on stream. That riddle was basically how to open the second enchantment. So it was like you were focusing on the scroll. None of you focused your eyes on the other the other one as it happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it was.
You know what's sad is that I actually kind of figured it out right as the session was ending. The tripwire is the one that opened the sarcophagus on the other side. Ugh.
So Raven, concerning you're a D&D expert, was that a proper puzzle?
Exterminate.
Like that is a yes, and let's get the heck out of here before he exterminates us, the Daleks.
Well, the question is, what is going to happen? What is the secret behind the whole purpose of Subject 0133? What exactly is Zelion planning to do? And more importantly, will our team be able to avoid encasement? Or is this going to be a very interesting situation? You will have to tune in next time to find out. So I'll see you all in 2 weeks when we come back to this. Missed all of you, and this is what I prefer with the cameras. If you guys watching this prefer this and like seeing the physical representation of everyone having either laughter, fear, excitement, or anger, let us know. Yeah. I hope that's not directed at me.
Well,
And hopefully next time I'll have some proper headphones instead of these feckin' things, because every time I try to move in one direction, it tugs.
No worries. Tugs. That was a very old British show. Done by the people who did Thomas the Tank Engine.
Dun, 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 dun,
Oh.
dun.
I'm serious. I would say this right now. If any of you ever get the chance to see it and you want to see childhood at the scarce point, Tugs was essentially like an attempt to make a more PG version of Thomas the Tank Engine at the time. It was actually more darker.
How do you make Thomas the Tank Engine less dark?
No, darker.
It was weird. People classified it as that. In fact, people actually said they didn't want it around because they thought it traumatized kids.
Of course it did.
It's people at the young time. I'll admit, I got scared of one episode of that, but that was mainly because the fact of I only recovered this because of a meme. There's actually a meme of basically like a blockage of like it basically Tugs is about boats, so it's like a Thomas but boats. And essentially, you actually see one of the villains, and he comes up, and he's got this demonic, scary face. But then later in the, he's kind of like this. And he just goes like that, and it's like the creepy music in the background, just like that type of thing, you know, the sort of sneaky spy music type of thing. But as a kid, that traumatized me. It's just like, what's he doing? I don't like that. I was young. But anyway, enough of my trauma. We'll save the trauma for 2 weeks from now when these guys have to fight this thing.
Oh no, I am scared. Help me.
Oh. Oh, you got scared when I told you the door was closing. That's when you got scared. But we'll see what happens with this. So until then, everyone, if you were charged with joining with this stream, be sure to hit subscribe or follow, depending on where you're watching this. So until then, perceptions rolled low. It's time for us to go.
oh no.
So until then, it's goodbye, of course, from Lena and Chopper, who jetted out the call and such earlier. But it's also goodbye from Kotlol.
I'm on your other side, but okay. Bye!
It's goodbye from Aeon.
New character look? Yes, no.
Leomon.
Black Leomon. Okay, your character's gonna die at one point. We get it.
Hey. The only thing we need to know is whether he at least lasts till the end of the series before he dies. And whether he gets strong enough to beat something and then dies.
Right, Manoga will be showing up at some point. Good to know.
It's goodbye from Raven.
Bye.
And it's goodbye from Heidi.
What are we gonna do with you, Chris?
Oh, no,
Oh,
wait,
just
no.
Chris?
Cheers.
I'll deal with you later, Liam. Or should
Cheers.
I say Moonraven?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Deal with me harder.
Yeah, you and I are gonna have words after the stream.
wait a minute. Is that a glass of wine?
Yes. Champagne.
We're going to wrap up before we go into a drinking stream. But
Cheers.
until then, everybody, I will see you all on the next time. Next week, we should be going to the land of Hoenn, so we'll see what happens then. So until then, everyone, this is goodbye from Brownie, your dungeon master. And until then, everyone, stay charged, catch you all later, and goodbye.
Bye.